So we have been implementing restorative justice at Rainier Beach High School for a few years now, and we started with community building circles. We trained staff how to circle keep, and more recently this year we are now training students to be the circle keepers. So we have 2 students from every advisory class that come and meet with the restorative justice team once a month to kind of decide on a topic for circle that they are going to lead in their own classrooms for their peers. So the first circle we did in January was just sort of like a processing circle to acknowledge the craziness of 2020 and acknowledge that, we survived it, but not everybody did. And we got a lot of really good feedback from the students and the teachers. A lot of teachers said that, like, whoa, this was definitely the best circle we've ever had, now that the students are the ones circle keeping. So Therapeutic Thursdays started basically after the school closed for the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, and then we realized, like, oh, this is gonna be a while. We started realizing, like, things just sort of like closed and nobody said any goodbyes, and so we started recording videos and just kind of talking about like the mental health side, what's going on in our brains as we're processing this sort of like low-level trauma of the pandemic. And then, of course, as George Floyd was murdered and we've seen the Black Lives Matter protests pop off in the streets, then we also addressed some of that and some of the violence that we were witnessing in the media. And that's kind of how Therapeutic Thursdays started, as we were remote. And then now we do it every Thursday at lunchtime, and it's a drop-in space for anybody that just kind of needs a minute to take a breather and get some support. So yeah, it's going really well. Sometimes we have a theme, sometimes we just end up kind of like letting the natural theme emerge. But a couple things we like to practice is expressing gratitude. So the act of being grateful will actually release like serotonin and oxytocin in your brain, which counteracts the negative, stressful hormones that we've all been dealing with. So we're going to practice some gratitude. We're also going to talk about radical self-love. We've been in isolation for a really long time, and we don't all know how to love ourselves. So we're thinking that that could be a healing tool that people can use in isolation. Yeah, and also, like, even though we're still through the screens, Therapeutic Thursdays, you like anytime you leave that space, you feel like, oh, I just like hung out with a couple of people, and that's also really nice.